Hi folks, and welcome to the second story for Discover Your National Parks Week, in which we're looking at the nature of the South Downs National Park. For this story we're going to go to the lakes and the ponds and the rivers where you might find fish. And this story is about a fish called, well, Little Fish. He is quite little, as you can see, but his tail is enormous, isn't it? All those golds and yellows and reds in it. It's a beautiful tail. Now, Little Fish spends a lot of his time in the pond swimming round and round and round and round, trying to catch his tail, but never quite managing it. Now, why is Little Fish doing that, you may ask? Well, it's because Little Fish thinks this is treasure. Well, here's the thing. One day Little Fish gets so fed up of swimming around and around and trying to catch his tail and never quite managing it that he goes to ask his friends. First of all, he goes to Frog and he calls up to Frog. Frog, Frog, can you help me? I need to catch this treasure, Frog. And if you can help me, well, you can have a share. Frog looks down from the little patch of watercress where he's sat. He looks down at Little Fish's tail and he looks at it and he goes, well, it is beautiful and it has lots of golds and yellows and oranges in it, but Little Fish, that's your tail. No, it's not, says Little Fish. Absolutely not. It's treasure. And if you can help me catch it, like I say, you can have a piece. Well, Frog wanted to try and help his friend, if only so that when he jumped on his tail, Little Fish would see that it was his tail. So he hunched down in the watercress and he pushed his legs really straight so that he could leap right up into the air, up, 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 and down, 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 but whoosh, Little Fish was too fast, way too fast. Frog. You're no good, said Little Fish. You're no good at all. You couldn't catch the treasure. I'm off to ask somebody else. I'm off to ask Water Boatman. Now, Water Boatman is a very small little beetle, very small, with lots of little legs, and he swims around. He looks a bit like a boat. If you look down on top of him, it looks like a boat with oars. He swims around just under the surface quite a bit. Now, all of the bubbles had drawn Water Boatman's attention. So when Little Fish went, Water Boatman, come and help me. Didn't take much to get his attention and off he came. He came across and he said to Little Fish, what's up? And he said, I'm trying to catch this treasure. Water Boatman, of course, looked at Little Fish and he said, Little Fish, that's your tail. No, it's not, said Little Fish, it's treasure. Promise, and if you help me catch it, you can have some. Well, Water Boatman was the same as Frog. He wanted to help his friend. And so he tried really hard. He again tucked his legs underneath him and then pushed them really straight so he could push down, down, down and into the water. But whoosh, it was no good. Little Fish was very fast. Well, said Little Fish, you two are absolutely no good at catching treasure. I know who will be. Pike. Well, now Frog and Water Boatman knew that Pike was the meanest, baddest fish in the whole pond and that going to ask him for help was only going to end in trouble. They tried to persuade Little Fish not to do it, but Little Fish was off, and off he went into the deepest, darkest part of the pond, and he pushed his way through the reeds, and in there, sleeping, fast asleep, snoring, was Pike. Pike, Pike, said Little Fish. Yes, Little Fish, said Pike. Pike, Pike, will you help me catch my treasure? Little Fish, said Pike, that's not treasure, that's your tail. It isn't, it's definitely treasure. Frog couldn't catch it, Water Boatman couldn't catch it, but I know you can. If you do, then I will give you a piece of the treasure. Don't you worry, Little Fish, said Pike. I'll help you and I'll make sure I have a piece of the treasure. And then Pike leapt out from the reeds, following little fish. Little fish went as fast as he can, around and around and around and around the pond, as fast as he could, with Pike following him. And Pike, well, his mouth was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, until he caught the end of little fish's tail. And little fish, when he went up into the air, yow! Went little fish flying off into the air. He went up, 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 and down, 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 down. And you'll be pleased to know he landed in another pond quite safely, but far away from Pike. Now, little fish turned around to see what Pike had done, and he saw that that gold, swishy, long tail that he had now had a piece missing from it. And finally he realised what it was that Frog and Water Boatman had been trying to tell him. He finally realised that it wasn't treasure, it was indeed his tail, and that Pike had indeed taken his piece of treasure. So next time you're wandering about across the downs and you see a little pond maybe, or a little river or a lake, and you look down and you see a little fish in there, if you see one with a golden tail and you see it's got a tiny bit missing from its tail, well, now you know that fish is little fish. I hope you enjoyed the story of the little fish with the golden tail. You can find that story in my book, Adventures in Nature, and there are 3 chances to win that book as part of Discover Your National Parks Week with the South Downs National Park. We'll put all the details for that underneath this video. And also you can go and find some more resources to help you discover your national park on our website. Like I say, all those details will be down below this video. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.